The fact that the Democrats are out there, praising Obama for his interventionism. I mean, again, he did start a shooting war in Libya. For his intervention in the Middle East without any congressional approval, and in fact, in spite of congressional disdain, and yet now they are complaining about all of this. They want to restrict war powers. That's a cynical play. The Democrats' behavior here is just amazing. The fact that Illhan Omar, an open anti-Semite who openly sympathizes with the Ayatollahs. I mean, she put out a tweet yesterday about economic sanctions against Iran, suggesting that economic sanctions are a form of warfare, which is weird because she doesn't really care about, in fact, she supports sanctions against the Jews. Illhan Omar really does not like them Jews. She's very much in favor of BDS against Israel, a democratic ally of the United States, but she says economic sanctions against Iran are very bad. Shocking. Yesterday, she did this press conference where Illhan Omar expressed that she had post-traumatic stress disorder thanks to tensions with Iran. Well, clearly we should formulate our foreign policy based on the fact that Illhan Omar is having flashbacks or something.
I feel ill a little bit because of everything that is taking place, and I think every time I hear about conversations around war, I find myself being stricken with PTSD, and I find peace knowing that I serve with great advocates for peace and people who have shown courage against war.
Are we supposed to take this human being seriously? This is a human being we are supposed to take seriously? A person who once wrote letters in support of people who had joined ISIS, asking a judge for more mercy upon them. This did happen in Minnesota, well reported by the Minneapolis Star Tribune. She sits on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, despite the fact that she says an anti-Semitic thing approximately once every 32.9 seconds. This human being who says, yes, clearly we should formulate our Iran policy around Illhan Omar because she feels a little ill. She feels a little ill. Really? Okay. What this is about for people who are not Illhan Omar, who's just a radical who is not cold. She's lukewarm at best with regard to America's anti-terror efforts. Let's just put it that way. The mainstream Democratic players are more focused on how much they hate Trump than they are about the interests of the United States. And that is pretty obvious. James Clapper, the former head of the Central Intelligence Agency under Barack Obama, he suggested that, when we were paying off the Iranians, that wasn't us paying off the Iranians. We were just giving them the money that they had already earned. I mean, we were just freeing up their money. I've heard this talking point from many members of the left, that when the Obama administration shipped pallets of cash to Iran and gave them $150 billion, that wasn't bad because, after all, that it was money that had been earned by the Iranian government. I mean, that was money that was owed to the Iranian government. Okay, well, what's a thing that we do here in the United States? Let's say that a drug dealer gets arrested for being a drug dealer. We seize his assets. One of the reasons we seize his assets is because we don't want him using those assets for further drug dealing. The notion that, that drug dealer really did earn that money, I guess we should just sign that check over. A uniquely foolish position from the Obama administration that was pursued to the hilt and led to the rise in terror.
It is not as though we provided taxpayer money to the Iranians. What we did was, what the administration did was unfreeze assets that were actually the Iranians. The weapons, security assistance funding for weapon systems that we were providing the Iraqis way back when. So we freed that up. And the actual intelligence evidence that I saw before I left, it didn't indicate they used much of that for supporting their nefarious activities, which they're going to do in any event, regardless.
Money is fungible. It's fungible. They didn't have to use that specific earmarked dollar for buying a ballistic missile. If they used that specific earmarked dollar for something else and then used a different dollar for the ballistic missile, the dollar still went for the ballistic missile. Ridiculous. Thank you for tuning in to The Daily Wire, one of the fastest growing conservative media outlets in the country. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of our content.